McNasty, how's the band coming along, brother?
It's coming along. I think our
Sick.
song is pretty much almost done. There's like two minor parts I think we need to change. And then we need to get a music video, which is probably going to take a little bit.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And then
Any details you want to share about the music video?
Any concepts?
It's just going to be like a really well animated like lyric video. We're not going to do anything like.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like an actual real life music video.
Is it going to be a guitar playthrough?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do hopefully a merch drop, like some shirts, maybe some beanies. And then I think that's it. I feel like probably within the next month or two we'll get things released.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we really wanted to make sure our first song was perfect. Like we've been through just a ton of different revisions. We've changed. I mean, the breakdown used to be like a third or like 2/3 of the length that it is currently. So we've added a lot to the breakdown.
The breakdown is fucking metal. It's metal.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I mean, that's when it comes down to playing like deathcore, you have to have just a fucking crazy breakdown, especially if you're like a new band coming out. Like, you don't want to just do like the basic shit. You want some fucking just intense, like almost explosion sounding.
Yeah. You don't want a little baby bag bitch breakdown that people are gonna judge you for. Be like, who the fuck is bitch?
But the thing I do like about the song too is the way it's structured. So it's almost structured like a regular song. So you have like an intro up until like the vocals and everything starts doing like a verse, and then you have like so after the verse is like I guess we call it breakdown 1, but it's not really a breakdown. It's kind of just it's a change of feel.
Little cock tease.
So it's like it just becomes this like you start playing lower notes, and then it goes into like a chorus or like a pre-chorus and then a chorus, and then it goes back into like it starts like halfway through verse 1 again, and then breakdown 2, and then that goes back into pre-chorus, chorus, solo, and then breakdown. So it's like very like there are parts in the song that repeat, which a lot of like deathcore songs don't do. Like choruses in deathcore isn't like very super popular. But Lorna kind of popularized the whole, like having that kind of structure, and obviously we are taking information. What's the word? Inspiration.
We are stealing Lorna Shore's information.
We're stealing their information.
Yeah, I sent Will Ramos a phishing email link.
Lorna, this is end of an era. We have your social.
Yeah,
we have your address and social security number.
No, but yeah, we've definitely taken some inspiration from them, but mostly for the first song. Like we kind of want to like on our next song, we want to do something a little bit different, but we still want to maintain that like brutal like heaviness, that's without being a fucking grindcore band.
Hell yeah. I'm excited, man. I love that all of us are into music and we all have our own little projects we work on. It's very, very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. Finding the time to make proper music is so difficult, though.
Yeah, I'm just glad that Andrew just does most of the fucking like hard work.
Yeah. The guy that helped make like the track on the song I did with Gibson, John Silky or whatever, like that is the way to go, to have like a producer or something when you don't have the time to actually make the proper music yourself. So
yeah, between like doing like my fucking like my second channel stuff and like I wouldn't be able to fucking produce music. I would have to learn a lot of stuff because I just don't like know very much about
it's a lot
music.
Because like knowing theory and knowing how to make music is only like 50% of the equation, because actually getting music recorded and mixed is the other half, and like that's
there's a lot that goes
so
into it.
much.
It's definitely not easy. Like it's not easy. You gotta write a song, so therefore you have to know how to play at least one instrument. And then so there's your first big step, is learning how to play an instrument enough to make a song.
Yep.
If you're going to use actual instruments in your music and not like a beat
you're not just
something.
pentatonics or something.
Yeah, like learn how to play a fucking instrument. Then learn how to potentially like record a demo. And then like go to a studio, learn what happens in the studio and how to properly record shit.
Yep.
And then hopefully, get someone to mix and master it, which are, two different things all in its own. And then it's like, then after that, like the mix and the master, like the mix can be specific for something. So like you can mix something to go just digital, or you can mix it to go on vinyl, which are two different things. And then, like, and I don't even know. That's like the tip of the iceberg of what of like the whole like music realm. I'm like here. I feel like I
like you know how to play guitar and sing. That's pretty much like
I know how to play guitar. I know how to play guitar, and I mean I know how to play instruments, but like as far as like actually the recording process and getting everything like at the right frequencies and getting it to sound good in a mix, I don't know how to do that. I can record a demo, like a very basic, not good sounding demo, but it gets the idea across.
Right. Well, a lot of times that's all you need, and then you kind of have your guy at the fucking console
Studio.
Who can do that shit for you. Bring it to life for you.
That's what I want to do in my garage, is like eventually get it set up where it's kind of like a little studio, but not to where I would be like fucking making shit here to go on an album necessarily, but making shit, like making demos to take to a studio.
Yeah.
That'd
be sick.
McNasty, what's your process been like? Because you haven't really talked about like the recording of instruments necessarily. I'm curious about how you do it.
So basically what we did at the start, like when we first started putting the song together, I kind of just wrote a bunch of random riffs, just in
riff salad.
Yeah, probably like 15 different riffs. And like I knew, like I kind of like in my mind, like I knew, like okay, this would sound like a good like chord, I guess power chord progression over like the chorus or whatever. And then there'd be parts where it'd be like more like dun, 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 like lower like chugging stuff. And I just sent a bunch of shit to him, and I was like, just like you try and incorporate these in songs, and it's like see where you feel like it would fit. And then he also wrote a couple things too, like he wrote because he's able to do the whole like digital guitar, digital drum, like everything digital, to where you kind of just get the song structure and then you record it later on with like real instruments. And and then I would just like when we got to the solo part, I wrote the solo, and that took me a while. I just needed to like I just wrote it in little sections and then kind of just pieced it together. And then he did all of the like the backing, like all of the orchestral shit, and he like matched everything with the riffs that I wrote in the solo. And I was mostly just me just recording guitar and just like sending him chunks of shit. And then, over time I'd be like, oh, I want to add this part to here. And then I would just send him like whatever I wanted to play. And then be like, here, put this there, and then match like all the backing track stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he recorded a lot of the rhythm stuff like on his own, just because it was easier for him to record it right, like directly into his DAW. And then I think the only thing I really recorded that he didn't record was the solo, because he's not a solo, like he's not a shred guy. He's like you, Soup. He kind of just plays like
rhythm.
Yeah. So that was pretty much. And then we would sit in calls, like in Discord calls, and he would just screen record like his DAW, and then we would just go through it and then be like, okay, add this part here, take out parts, or be like, the drum sounds funny here, let's change the drum pattern. And then that's pretty much, we've just done that so many times to the point where now we have a finished song. I would love to fly him out here and him do it here, because I have a Mac behind me, and he uses what is it called? Logic.
Yeah.
Logic.
Yeah. So he's super well versed in Logic, and it'd be nice to have him here with this. I think I'm going to give him this computer, because he has like one of those Macs where it's like a little like fucking like 7x7 inch square, and you just plug a bunch of shit into. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Mac Minis.
Ew.
And you just plug a monitor into it. Yeah, and like when we're doing stuff, like when he's sharing his stuff, a lot of the time he'll start a song and the whole program will just freeze for like 5 seconds. So I think
that would piss me off.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna give him my Mac, and because it runs a lot better and it's way more useful for him to have it, because I never use it. And I think it'll be a lot easier to do shit with that.
Cool.
So yeah, but it would be nice to fly him out here and like actually do the stuff here, because I have my vocalist here, Paxton, and he it's so, dude, recording vocals with him here fucking so easy, dude. Like I just sit in FL Studio and I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this part, press play, and then it does like the countdown, and then he just does it, and it just works.
Goes into it.
Exactly. Yeah. We tried to do it before. He tried recording vocals by streaming on Discord, and he has like a
latency,
like a $600 laptop, and it just like he didn't know how to use a DAW at all, so he was using like Reaper, and it just like it was just a very, very slow process, and then he moved out here,
I use Reaper to record demos.
I use Reason, which is mostly for electronic music, but I'm too lazy to learn another DAW.
Yeah,
so it gets the job done.
If you're super comfortable with a DAW, it's you don't want to like try and learn another one.
Yeah, you could do anything in it. It's just what most like electronic music people will use, or like they'll use like Ableton or something. Ableton looks fucked.
Yeah,
I've tried to use Ableton before. I
no bueno.
Up. Yeah, every DAW has its own like good shit and bad shit about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of like big industry people use Logic. I'm pretty sure that's like the or Pro Tools. Pro Tools is the other one.
Yeah, Logic is, when I watch Andrew use Logic, I'm like, all right, this is like, I can tell that what he's doing is better than FL Studio. I just wouldn't know how to do it. Like, I don't know where to go or what to press, or but I can tell there are things that he does where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do that in FL Studio. But there have been a couple times where he's like try to do something and I'm like, oh, in FL Studio you could do that, and he's like, oh man, I wish I could do this. So it's like DAWs just have their own specific thing that they're really good at. So
Reaper's pretty cool. I like using Reaper. It to me it felt more of like a less of a learning curve, I guess, whenever I went into Reaper.
Yeah. From
what I knew about like just using Sony Vegas. Because I literally used to just record guitar like into Sony Vegas because I was like, it records audio. Yeah. But you're so limited on what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Queen.